Diane Sims, and I am a parent of a 9th grader here at Albemarle High School. And my child was struggling with Latin, and we tried various strategies, meeting with the teacher, trying to do homework help. We did contact the tutoring office, and they were very flexible with times, and he ended up getting a really good tutor that met with him before school. And that seemed to help, because after that tutoring he went right to Latin, so it was a good, they kind of piggybacked on each other. What I saw is that he was more motivated, and he was very willing to go, and I felt that he got more confident, and he had another system in place for support. The teacher was very supportive, he gets support at home, but he needed a little more support from a different avenue, and that's what this provided to him.
One of my favorites that I got to go help with was Mr. Needham's class. He worked with us a bunch this year. And it was neat to just help those kids. I was able to pop around, like, be with a bunch of different kids and really see how they're all progressing. And we went there back multiple times, and it was cool to see, like, how they started in one place, and with our help and with Mr. Needham's teaching, we were able to, like, help them actually understand and really know the math side of stuff for themselves. And now it's gotten to the point where I get to, like, say hi to them in the halls, and it's just been something more than just helping them with work. Being a tutor in that class has just been fun for me.
I'm Chris Needham, I'm a math teacher. I use the tutors in a couple of different ways for my math classes. I had them come in and work with a whole math class. Generally it's kind of I teach a lower level of math student, and some of them are kind of can be a little unmotivated, and so having kind of their peers come in meant a different option. They get to kind of not have to listen to me, and kind of they seemed more motivated to work with kind of people they kind of either wanted to impress or kind of give them a different option, rather than sitting and listening to me give direct instruction. They get to work in their groups. So it was a great tool, and it also gave me a break from having to teach them the whole time. I also had one student who was an ESOL student work one-on-one with a peer tutor, and literally it was excellent, just in terms of pairing up and feeling that, giving that student extra confidence to kind of get their work done rather than shutting down in class. And pretty much, as in all honesty, it felt like without them, as in the student probably would have failed my class, but being able to work with the student kind of helped motivate her, and actually the tutor was just kind of, I think, gained something from being able to kind of, from their perspective, being able to work with the student.
She was in Mr. Needham's algebra class, or AFTA class, math class, and what basically we worked on is that she would come here maybe a couple of times a week during my writing center period, and we work on math, and it was a great experience working with her. She was very determined, and being able to use my Spanish to explain to her concepts or just work through problems was very helpful to her, and also just having someone to talk with through problems, and if she had any questions, that helped.
I'm Sal Giordano. I teach AP World History. I'm the chair of the Social Studies Department. I utilized the Writing Center last year for the first time in a really big way, and it went really well. I teach my students to write. We have a lot of writing in AP World History, so I went to the tutors, talked to them about what I was looking for, about what my students needed to improve. The great thing was a number of the peer tutors actually were former AP World History students, so they had something of an idea of what they needed to do. I had my students go, I think maybe after their second test, they had to go bring their essays, and I gave them some pretty specific requirements, which I think was maybe rewriting 2 paragraphs with the help of one of the tutors. I really saw improvement in the course of the year by utilizing the tutors. So it worked great for my students. I think they would say they had a good experience with it, so I would definitely recommend it to teachers.
I'm Scott Sylvie, and I'm a peer tutor at Studio C. I'm Ayub Herman, and I got help from Scott with some chemistry problems, and he helped me on a history essay, a practice history essay, and gave me good feedback on how to improve it.
We also worked on French. He had a play rehearsal, and we need to memorize some lines and help him just get that perfectly.
And it definitely helped having another person to help me memorize lines or get better at an essay. So.
Hi, I'm Amber Roberts, and I teach AVID and AP Econ. And last year I worked with the Writing Center about a lot of things, but one of the major projects we did was working with my 10th grade AVID class about preparing discussion skills and public speaking skills. So the Writing Center not only worked with them on how to be better kind of ad-lib talking in a discussion in class, but then they practiced with them preparing for their presentations. And with a tutor, they recorded their presentation, did kind of some self-evaluation assessment, and then were really, really prepared. So it was a great experience for my 10th graders.
Okay, so I'm Joe Frankfurth here. I teach a whole mess of 9th grade English kids. So the Writing Center's been a huge, huge help for many of my students. I do teach a level that's maybe a little bit more of a remedial class for kids who are a couple years behind in their reading level. And coming into a high school environment, it's a great opportunity for them to kind of get some skills under their belt and spend a little bit more time with some better support. That's where the Writing Centers really come in. They've been working together all second semester. We've totally left the traditional classroom. We've set up in the library. We're doing a 3-station rotation, and so one of the stations is to work in the Writing Center on whatever related writing project we have going at the time. Might be project-based, might be an essay, might just be doing some journaling or some working on something, but it really gives the kids a cool person that they can go to always when they just don't quite know how to get started or to finish or how to refine something. And the tutors are just so willing to pick up any task that they're given. Whether it be to help with study skills, to help them with presentation skills, to be a camera person while making some trailers, to jump in as parts in a reader when we need 8 or 10 different roles filled in reading a play. So they've just jumped in with enthusiasm and great attitudes and a willingness to really work with some kids that might not always be just terribly excited about academics.
Hi, my name is Temi, and I was an 11th grade tutor here at the Writing Center this year. I was a Young Men with Great Mind tutor, and that was really fun because it was sort of different than your traditional tutoring experience. Every Thursday during lunch, we would go into a classroom, Miss Early's classroom, and we would discuss certain events with other young men. There's a group called Young Men with Great Minds, and we were the mentors, and so we would read articles about current events that were happening, or we'd read about certain social issues that were affecting our lives or that were current and relevant, and we would just discuss them and talk about them, and it was really good because we all got to share our ideas, and it was really thought-provoking, so it was great.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Aust. I teach 12th grade English. Last year I had a student who really needed the Writing Center. She was very unsure about her writing structure. She was not a native English speaker, so a lot of grammatical constructions were foreign to her, and she needed a lot of help. She ended up going to the Writing Center probably at least 3 times a week for the entire year. It really helped her a lot. So I'm really glad the Writing Center was there for her.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a junior tutor in the Writing Center.
Hi, my name is Lynn. And actually my real name is T-Slane Chang. I'm a senior at Alabama High School, and sometimes I need help in writing because sometimes I have grammar issues and problems with sentence structure.
Yeah. So Lynn would come in and she mostly brought in either English papers or government papers, and we would read through her papers paragraph by paragraph, and we would check for grammar issues, just make sure everything is structured correctly, make sure she had her ideas together, formulated nicely.
Sometimes nouns and verbs get me confusing. Even I talk and I get confused too. Yeah. And also, it's really important to like understand your mistakes in real life.
Hi, I'm Aisha. I'm a tutor here in Studio C. I'd have to say my most interesting session was with this one student who came in after school, and he had practically none of his paper written that was due tomorrow. And that really sticks out to me because that whole week I'd been looking at other people's papers from that same teacher, and they had most of their papers done. We were just working on kind of the small bits that you would expect, like, okay, that sentence is worded a little weirdly, maybe change the idea you're trying to get across here. So with this, I really had to step back and focus on the bare meat of an essay, really helping him with his structure, which I feel like not a lot of people realize that a tutor can help you with. That's not really the first thing you think of when going to get tutored, but that's definitely something that tutors here can really help with.
I'm Dana Fulcher. I'm a junior here at Albemarle, and I'm a part of the Writing Center.
Hi, I'm Erica Thorson, and I'm one of the librarians. I was so lucky to have Dana work with me on a project. I was asked to write a proposal for a book chapter for a book that is going to be about best practices in school libraries. And Dana was helpful, and she read over my proposal. She helped me with a couple of grammatical errors, and she also helped me clarify some things that might not have been as clear as I wanted them to be.
I was like, oh my gosh, really? But then it was one of the coolest experiences that I had because it made me step up and be able to talk to a teacher and actually correct some of her work instead of her correcting mine. And I thought it was really interesting because I was able to help her and she took it well, so I was really excited.
Hi, I'm Eve Solomon. I'm an ESOL teacher at Albemarle High School. I teach ESOL 1.
I'm Izzy Fund. I'm a peer tutor. I'm a junior this year.
This year, Izzy's been a great help to our ESOL 1 class. We had a new student who spoke only French. Unfortunately, Izzy knew French, and she helped him with various assignments. She also helped him open up and make new friends. One of my students would not speak English at all because he's shy and he's scared he's going to make a mistake. And now he will take the chance and speak a lot more than he did before. Our other student was really an academic student, but he's really putting sentences together well and writing very well academically. So I see a tremendous increase in their academic ability.
I've really helped them become more comfortable in this new country, and I feel like just open up to the possibility of getting outside of the ESOL group and meeting new people.
Hi, I'm Marlena Becker. I'm a second-year tutor at the Peer Tutoring Center, and one of the most interesting sessions I had was when actually a fellow tutor came in to be tutored about she had to memorize an entire menu for her waitressing job. And so what we did is we went out in the library, and she had the menu with her, and we just sat and she studied them, and then I quizzed her on them, and we came up with mnemonic devices to remember all the dishes and little rhymes and stuff to help her remember. And so that was really interesting because it's, you don't learn about how to tutor a menu, but if you think about it, it's a lot like tutoring something else, like tutoring vocabulary for a language or anything where you have to be memorizing stuff.
Philip Plowman. I teach earth science and biology. The way that I used the Peer Tutoring Center was the peer tutors created different activities for the kids to help learn cell organelles, which is always a challenge because it's simple memorization and there's not a lot of fun class stuff that I do. So the peer tutors come up with a few ideas ahead of time, and we communicated back and forth and created about 7 different options for the kids to learn the organelles. They did all the work, and I just kind of okayed stuff and said what I thought would be helpful.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm an ESOL teacher. And we were doing a video project where my students would talk about their lives and their strengths and weaknesses in learning, which we shared with teachers. And the Writing Center students came in and practiced pronunciation, let students say their scripts to them, and then they videotaped them. It was a lot of help.
Hi, I'm Madeline Smith, and I'm a junior at Studio C. And Katie Crichton and myself, Katie Crichton and I started a study group for our college algebra trig class, and we had people come every Wednesday morning, and they could be from our class or any other college algebra trig class by any other teacher. And we would just work on homework and go over our notes and go over things that we didn't really, that if someone didn't understand something, we'd all try and go over it. And we'd kind of go over our homework and try and find common problems that everyone was having. We'd go over those too and try and make sure everyone understood the subject. And then we'd study for partner quizzes, which we had frequently. So it was a really good opportunity for people in our class to kind of work with each other and hear the topics and how to hear the steps of the problems from our peers, as opposed to hearing it just from the teacher and always hearing the way the teacher explains it. We could hear it from each other and how someone else explained it in words that we were more prone to understand.
Hi, my name is Abby Baum, and I teach English here at AHS. I primarily teach 9th grade this year, but I also work with some 11th graders, and I found the Writing Center invaluable for the work that I do with 9th grade readers and writers. My favorite way to use the Writing Center is what we call the half and half, and it's where the class splits up in half, and I send half down to the Writing Center to work one-on-one with tutors, while I keep the other half here for some differentiated instruction. And then we switch, not halfway through the block. The Writing Center has been great in helping students attack rubrics, been great with helping young students learn technology. We've blogged this year. The Writing Center students provided an authentic audience for some of my bloggers. And then I think my favorite thing about the Writing Center, especially from a 9th grade perspective, is the great energy that my students express when they come back from working with the tutors. I think it's a scary proposition for 13, 14-year-olds to venture out into an unknown space, especially at our huge high school. And when they go down, my co-teacher and I, we see them, they're very timid. When they come back, we hear just exuberant exclamations. You know, I want to always work with that tutor, or she was so great, or he did this. And it does a nice thing for our community as we welcome in these younger students.
Hi, new teachers. Welcome to Albemarle. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Writing Center. It has really helped one of my students. He sometimes had some pretty overwhelming anxiety and would get stuck in especially math. And the folks in the Writing Center were great. They were able to give him some one-to-one help on a regular basis. For the first time, the student stopped resisting math and actually started doing it, and we started to make forward progress. And it worked every other day in the Writing Center, but it also really helped him make progress in the actual class itself. So that was awesome. They've also been really helpful in being kind of a safe place for kids where they can get past brain freeze and start being productive. So I highly recommend the Writing Center.